Alright, today I'm going to be showing you how to do some quick and easy model railroad scenery that looks pretty good in the end. So what you're going to need is some diluted white glue, some full strength white glue, scenery of your choice. Right here I have some green grass and some dirt, both Woodland Scenics ground foam. If you're doing it around track, I use some blue painter's tape. And I am using some static grass, so I just have this homemade static grass applicator here. And you also need some static grass if you're doing static grass, so just some Woodland Scenics static grass block. Okay, first, if you're doing it in your track, tape it off. That's what the tape's for. So, generally, I will save it from, if I've done scenery before, I will try to save the tape so I can reuse it and I don't have to go through rolls and rolls of tape to do the entire layout. Because it doesn't really matter if it's used or not, it's just for scenery and covering up the track so you don't get scenery all over the ballast and all over the switches and stuff like that. Just get all covered up. Sometimes you might want to leave a little bit of the ballast exposed, just like some weeds and stuff has started to grow on it, but generally you don't see the ballast completely covered in stuff, so that just helps keep it protected. Then I'll start off with applying ground foam first. I just sprinkle it out of the cup like this. Just do a pretty good layer. Just make sure everything is nicely covered. You generally want to do it in small areas. You don't want to do like your entire layout at once. Doesn't have to be completely covered if you're using static grass, because that'll also cover it up. Now I'm going to do some dirt just up closer to the tracks, like they've sprayed and gotten most of the weeds and stuff away. Like so, and then I'll just sprinkle a little bit every now and then just to give the green grass a bit of color. Don't want it completely green. If you aren't using static grass, you would want to completely cover this and make sure like none of these little white spots were showing or anything like that. So next, we also need some water. Some either dish soap or isopropyl alcohol, something just mix in to make sure it's not so giant drops. So you just want to wet down all the scenery, and then all the time you'll need to go over it again once you wet it down. I'll just apply another light coat here just to cover it up and absorb some of that water in case you put down too much. Alright, that looks pretty good. Just do another light coating of water. This one doesn't need to be so heavy. And then take the diluted white glue, make sure you shake it up and there aren't any giant globs that'll come out. You just cover up all the scenery in white glue. I just normally use Elmer's glue or some just cheap white glue. Don't need anything expensive. The Woodland Scenics glue is nice, but you go through so much of that stuff and it ends up costing a fortune. So I generally don't use that. I've used 2 bottles of it and that barely did anything. So I just don't want to go out and buy a ton of it to do the entire layout. And next I will apply some static grass. Just get some out of the container here. For my static grass, I just use one of these electric fly swatters with the sifter on the end. You can find videos on YouTube how to make it. It's a really simple project, really cheap, because I'm not going to spend $200 on a static grass applicator. That's just too much. I'll make it. It works pretty good. Readjusted there, right? So just sprinkle it all down. You have to get it pretty close with this to make sure the grass stands up nice and tall. Before you touch it, you want to do this, because sometimes if you don't, you'll get a pretty big spark and it can probably hurt. Get the camera dusted again. And this is why you want to cover your track up so you don't get glue and stuff and have static grass sticking all over your track. And there you go, that's why you don't want to touch it. You want to disperse this static electricity. So we're almost done. One last step. After this, I will take some of this Woodland Scenics Underbrush. Here I have Forest Blend. I'll just take some and sprinkle it over. Well, actually, before this, you'll probably want to take some ground foam, and I just use a spoon. Just take some of the ground foam and lightly just sprinkle it over every round just to give it some more color. Just make some spots stand out. Then I'll just take some of the dirt and just sprinkle some on just to give it a little bit of color so it's not all one green color. That doesn't look all that great. There we go. And then we'll take the forest underbrush here. Just kind of sprinkle it all on. Doesn't need to be nice and neat. There. Alright, and then take some of the, or actually for this you can just use some more diluted white glue. You want to get lightly sprinkle the underbrush just so the glue will soak in. You don't want to do too much water or it will ruin your static grass. So just get it. Doesn't take much to hold it down. Yeah, that looks good. And then at some points it will make the static grass flat, and you can always just go over and add some more of the underbrush. If it makes it flat and doesn't look so good, just take a little bit of white glue. You can either just put it a little bit on the scenery there, just like this, and then just take some of the underbrush, just stick it on to hide any spots that you don't like. And then show you guys, this is what I have done so far with this technique, and it is looking pretty good. Once it's all dry, I will go through and add some of the taller static grass blocks, just to look like tall weeds and stuff like that. I'll go through and add those. So that's how to make pretty quick and easy scenery that actually looks good. So see you guys next time.